Imagine serving abroad, believing that everything is fine at home, and then finding out that your wife is cheating on you, and what's the worst part? It all unravels in the middle of the mission. How do you deal with infidelity thousands of kilometers away? But what I found out afterwards was really hard to imagine, it was unimaginable. My name's Joe Anderson, and I'm a 26-year-old surgical technician in the U.S. Air Force, currently deployed in Afghanistan. I serve as either a sniper or spotter alongside my close buddy, fellow staff surgeon Matt Davidson. I joined up right after high school, continuing the family legacy of military service. My dad retired after 26 years in the Air Force and now calls Central Texas home. My grandparents also live in Central Texas in a retirement community. My grandpa put in 30 years with the Air Force himself. Even my great-grandfather served in the Army Air Corps during World War II, so you could say military life is in my blood. I met my wife, Kelly Thompson, when I was studying in Mississippi, and we got married not long after. Her parents both served in the Air Force too, and they're thinking about retiring down in Central Florida. We were thrilled when I got stationed at Patrick AFB, close to Melbourne, where her folks, Jim and Linda, live. Our son, Jake, was born there 3 years ago, which made having babysitters nearby really convenient. To set aside some money for our future, I started a small cleaning business. It all began by cleaning our church, but it grew to include base housing inspections. Over time, the business expanded, and now we've got around 10 or 12 employees. Kelly manages the accounting and scheduling, while I handle sales and oversee things. Our clients range from a small shopping center to a 3-story office building, plus various base housing contracts. We also make it a point to hire military-connected folks, like spouses, and a few guys to help with the heavy lifting. Before becoming a sniper, I worked as an avionics systems tech for most of my 8 years in service. But the Air Force started looking for sniper recruits for the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and since I'd scored expert in my last 3 firearms qualifications, they asked if I wanted to give it a shot. The hazardous duty pay was nice, and I was up for the challenge. Kelly was on board with the decision too. By then, Jake was 3 and growing fast. I ended up heading to Georgia to train with Marine and Army snipers. That's where I met Matt Davidson, a guy from upstate New York. At the time, we were the only 2 Air Force guys in the program, so we decided to team up and form a USAF duo. Most of the other troops stuck with their own service members too, though there were a couple of Army-Marine pairs. By the end of training, Matt and I finished in 3rd and 4th place, right behind an Army-Marine team. Matt had been stationed at McGuire AFB in New Jersey but got transferred down to Patrick, where we deployed to Afghanistan for an 18-month assignment. We'd been there for about 8 months already, and we'd been on a bunch of missions. Luckily, I could talk to Kelly, Jake, and both sets of parents through phone calls or Skype, which made being away a little more bearable. It wasn't the same as being home, though. One day, while Skyping with Kelly, I noticed a shadow move behind her in the background. I asked if it was Jake, and she said no, he was staying at her parents' place for the week, they wanted some time with him. She said it was probably one of the cleaning crew stopping by to check in. It was around 2 p.m. there, so I didn't think much of it at the time. But the next day, I got a call from my buddy, Greg Johnson. He's a close friend, and he and his wife help out with babysitting and cleaning sometimes. His voice was serious when he said, "Joe, man, I've got some really bad news. Kelly's cheating on you." I was completely floored, feeling like I was about to pass out from the shock. "You've got to be kidding me, right?" "Nope, no joke, man. I've got the evidence right here on my phone." Greg went on to explain that he stopped by yesterday afternoon to check in on Kelly and see if she had anything lined up for us over the weekend. She didn't answer the door, but he noticed her car was in the driveway. When he tried the doorknob, it was unlocked, so he walked in. And right there, in the kitchen, he caught her in a compromising position with another guy. He even mentioned that the guy was, let's just say, very well endowed, which could explain her interest. I hated to break the news like this, but I figured you needed to know immediately. His words hit me like a freight train. Greg, I'm at a loss for words. I know it's been a long 8 months, but she's already moving on from me. Yeah, looks that way, bud. So, what do you want me to do now? Greg, keep tabs on her. Make sure he's the only one. If there are others, I'll use that to get Jake away from her on grounds of being an unfit mother. She told me Jake was staying at her parents' place in Melbourne for the week, so keep checking. And make sure you snap some pictures. I need solid proof that she's cheating on me. Hey, don't we clean that office building where one of the attorneys works? Yeah, it's Stanley and Green. Maybe you should swing by and see what they say about my situation. I'll check with them too and see if they have any advice from here. Will do, Joe. I'll bring them whatever I find. Man, this is infuriating. You're stuck out there, and she's just doing whatever she pleases. Yeah, keep me updated and stay on it. Of course, Joe, I hated to be the one to drop this bomb on you, but I couldn't just sit on it. You and Kelly meant a lot to me and my wife. Don't let anyone else know about this, okay? Just you, me, and the lawyers. We've got to keep it tight until we can figure out the next move. Do you need me to wire you some cash for the lawyer? Let me know what you find out. And seriously, Greg, thanks. I thought Kelly was solid, but I guess I was wrong. Keep me posted if you get anything more from Stanley or dig up any more dirt. Don't worry, Joe. I'll be in touch soon. I leaned back in my chair, completely deflated. My heart felt shattered, and it was like the top of my head had exploded. How could Kelly do this to us? We'd been happily married for over 6 years. Why now? Was it because I'd been away for so long? I thought we were doing great, we had a strong intimate life, at least 2 or 3 times a week, and on weekends, it could be even more frequent. We were always together. And it's not like I'm lacking in the size department. I know I'm bigger than most guys from locker rooms in high school and even here. What now? That was the question burning in my mind. I had to get to the legal office. I needed serious help. I headed over to headquarters to see if I could make an appointment with a lawyer. When I walked in, there was an army surgeon at the front desk. She was kind of cute, and I asked her if I could speak to someone from legal. She asked what it was about, and I told her it was personal, about a potential divorce. She nodded and said, "Please have a seat, and I'll check who's available." She stepped through a door and was only gone for about a minute before coming back and saying, "Follow me." She led me into a room where a full-bird colonel was waiting. He stood up as I walked in. "Colonel Richards, this is Technical Sergeant Anderson. He's here seeking your assistance," she said before stepping out and gently closing the door behind her. The colonel walked around his desk, extending his hand. "Good to meet you, Sergeant Anderson. Have a seat and start from the beginning." He moved back to his desk, pulled out a notepad, and added, "Take your time, and let me know everything you've learned." I took a deep breath and laid it all out, everything Greg had told me. I even mentioned how he was going to reach out to a lawyer to look into things on my behalf. By the time I finished, I was sobbing uncontrollably, my whole body shaking with heavy sobs. I felt like a pile of jelly melting into the chair, completely drained. I wasn't even sure if I had the strength to stand and walk out of that office. I could hear the colonel pick up his phone and make a call. "Vic, it's Charlie. I've got someone in my office who could really use your help." "Yeah, he got some bad news from home." "No, not that kind of news." "Yeah, exactly. He needs a little support right now. Can you try to track down Staff Sergeant Matt Davidson too? He could use his partner. He'll be fine with me for now, but get here as soon as you can. Thanks, Vic. See you shortly. Now, son, I've got some people coming to help you out, folks who can really be there for you." We're also trying to find your partner Matt so he can be here as well. For now, just sit tight, and we'll get you the support you need. I sat up slightly and tried to regain my composure. I can wait out in the other room so you can have your office back. I don't want to take up your time or be a bother. Nonsense, Joe. I'm never too busy for someone going through what you are. I know this feels like an overwhelming blow, but with time, things will start to get better. It won't be easy, and it won't happen fast, but the pain will lessen. Trust me, I know from personal experience. Even 10 years later, there's still a sting, but you'll eventually reach a point where you can live with the hurt. It'll help to talk to someone who can guide you through this, and to remind you that you're still worthy of love and belonging with someone who truly values you. I know it's hard. It took me almost 5 years to heal after my own betrayal. There were days when I thought ending it all was the only way to find peace. But a kind soul, an angel, really, saved me from that dark place and helped me start healing. Now, I try to do the same for others who've been betrayed by the people they trusted the most. It's part of what helps me cope. I hope talking to someone who's been through it helps, even just a little. There is a light at the end of this tunnel, and I promise you, it's not a train coming to destroy you like I once feared. I sat quietly, taking in his words. Here was a man who had gone through the same kind of hell I was going through, and he had come out the other side. Someone had helped him find his way back, so maybe, just maybe, there was hope for me too. As I sat there, mulling over what he'd said, I wondered if I was any different from him. Could I bounce back like he did? Was I stronger, weaker, or just the same? I didn't have all the answers, but I knew 2 things for sure. First, I had to survive this, for Jake's sake. He deserved better than having a neglectful mom and a messed up dad. Second, I needed to make sure Kelly was never part of Jake's life again. She wasn't fit to be a mother, not with the way she was behaving. I could hate her for the rest of my life and never feel a shred of guilt about it. She had thrown everything away for a thrill. And what if she did it again with someone else who had something better to offer? How many times had she already done this? Did I even want to know? I wasn't sure if I could handle finding out just how long she'd been betraying me. If it turned out she'd been doing this for years, I might not be able to control my anger. The thought of strangling her, of watching her life drain from her eyes, crossed my mind. That way, she'd never have the chance to hurt anyone else the way she'd hurt me. Then it hit me, her parents. Did they know about all this and keep it from me? I honestly didn't think so. I'd been calling them mom and dad long before we even got married. They were closer to me than my own family. But now I had to figure out how to let them know without tipping Kelly off. Would they side with their daughter, though? As they say, blood's thicker than water. I knew I had to tread lightly. A soft knock interrupted my thoughts, and Father Victor Bianchi walked in, followed by my partner, Matt. Matt came straight over, dropped to his knees, and pulled me into a hug. Father Vic told me what happened, Joe. Please don't shut down on us. We need you here, especially now. I know it hurts like hell, but you've got to come back for Jake's sake. You don't want her getting custody of him, do you? I shook my head, my throat tight, unable to speak. Then dig deep, Joe. You've got to push through this. I'm here for you, and so is Father Vic. Don't forget that, Matt said, his voice steady. I know. I've also got Greg back home. He's looking into everything for me. He even has a picture of one guy, caught them in the act. Kelly bent over the kitchen table. Greg thinks there might be more, too. He's already contacted a lawyer and started the process. I'm sorry I broke down like that earlier, but it just hit me hard when I was telling the colonel. Come on, let's head back to the tent. Maybe you can get some rest. I'm pretty sure we're up next in the mission rotation. Joe, don't worry about that, Matt said. I'll get the rotation switched around. We might even be able to get you emergency leave to go home and deal with your wife and start the divorce. Who's this Greg that's helping you back home? The colonel chimed in. Colonel Richards, it's Greg Johnson. He's in my phone contacts. He was heading over to see a law firm, something like Stanley and Green. We couldn't remember the full name, but they're on Atlantic Drive, just south of Sunrise Avenue in Indian Harbor Beach, Florida. My cleaning business handles their offices. You own a cleaning company, Sergeant? Yeah, me and my cheating wife run a small cleaning business. We've got about 10 to 12 employees. The guy Kelly was with works for us, or used to, until I get back to fire him. Are both of you listed as officers of the company? No, just me. I started the business and asked her to help out with the cleaning. Eventually, she took over scheduling and bookkeeping. I'm the president, and I handle sales. Is that relevant, Colonel? I asked, confused. Yes, it might be. Did you file everything with the state and get a business ID? Yeah, the legal office on base took care of it for me. They submitted all the paperwork. I've got both state and federal ID numbers for taxes and payroll. Everything's legit. I withhold taxes and send them to the IRS quarterly. Good job, Joe. You've got everything squared away. Now we just need to get you settled down. I'll contact Greg and get the name of the lawyer. I'll take it from here until we can bring your new attorney up to speed. For now, why don't you and Matt head back to your tent, and I'll notify your commanding officer that you'll need some time off to process all of this. Thanks, Colonel Richards. I'd really appreciate a couple of days to sort through everything I'm feeling. After that, I think I need to get back on a real mission. Blowing off some steam will help, and to be honest, shooting has a way of calming me down. Colonel Richards smiled. He's not kidding, shooting really does mellow him out. After a mission, we're both so relaxed, it's like we're floating for days. Our Southeast Major, Kelly, always says he loves our approach to missions. We're tense during the briefing, but the moment we're out there, it's all business. Then when we come back, it's like a celebration. He wishes all his snipers had our mindset. Are you both snipers? Father Vic asked. Yes, Father, Matt replied. We're both qualified. We alternate depending on who needs rest. One of us shoots, the other spots. There's no competition between us about who's better. When we finished sniper school, our scores were only a few points apart, and our confirmed counts are nearly the same. As a team, we've got 54 confirmed kills and 23 possibles between us, but honestly, neither of us could tell you our individual numbers. We're probably even, but we don't focus on that. We just do our job to the best of our ability, and that's what matters to us. We're a team, and what affects one of us affects the other. Any glory we get, we share. I think that's why our Southeast Command puts us on the toughest missions. They know we'll get the job done. That's admirable, Matt. You've got one spirit shared by two bodies and minds. You're a real team, and quite a strong one at that, Father Vic said approvingly. Colonel Richards chimed in, I couldn't agree more, Vic. You could see at the moment Matt walked into the office, his first priority was Joe. After that, it was about gathering information and finding a way to fix the situation. They really are a team, like you said, two bodies, one spirit. It's rare to see that kind of unity in young folks today, Father Vic said. A lot of people these days are all about me, but these two have a sense of pride and responsibility for each other. Colonel Richards took down Greg's number while Matt and I left the office, leaving the Colonel and Father Vic to continue their conversation. Matt helped me get back to our tent, and I immediately took a couple of aspirin before collapsing onto my cot. I was out cold. By the time I got back to the tent, it was around 2:30 a.m., so most of the other guys were already gone. We slept in the tent reserved for night operations since we usually deployed after dark, so we shared the space with the night shift crew. I didn't hear a thing until I glanced at my watch, realizing it was already 10 a.m. The lighter shade of the tent walls confirmed that it was daytime. Even with the double-walled tents, the light always managed to seep through during the day over here. I stirred, and before I could fully sit up, Matt was right beside me. "How are you feeling?" he asked. I had slept a solid 8 hours, and while I felt a little disoriented, I was mostly hungry. "Let me hit the head, and then we can grab some chow." "Sound good?" "Joe, you didn't just sleep 8 hours, you've been out for over a day. It's Thursday now. We saw Colonel Richards late Tuesday night, or more like early Wednesday morning. Today's March 15th. You definitely needed that rest. We've got a meeting with the Colonel tonight at 2400 hours, so let's go grab some food. I slept an entire day. Man, I must have been wound tight to sleep that long. I didn't even crash like that after Mission 27. What was it? We were up for 120 hours straight, right? 122 hours and 17 minutes, to be exact, before we finally crashed in our bunks and slept for 18 hours straight. You just broke that record with 34 hours of solid sleep. So yeah, I think it's time to hit the latrine and grab some food. The guys in the tent were even getting worried you'd gone comatose. Oh, and I need to fill you in on some phone calls you missed while you were out. There's some pretty interesting stuff you'll want to hear. I've already typed up the conversations. I think that's why Colonel Richards wants to meet tonight. He's been on the phone non-stop between here and Florida. We left the tent and hit the latrine. After freshening up and putting on a clean uniform, we headed over to the chow hall. A few of the guys from our tent greeted me with a grin, throwing out jokes about Sleeping Beauty. When we reached the chow hall, we bumped into Sergeant Lila Rester, the sharp one from the JAG office. Well, look who's back from the dead. Feeling better now, Sergeant Anderson? We were all a bit concerned when you crashed that hard for so long. I guess your body needed a serious reset, 'cause you're looking a lot better than you did when you came in the other night. Glad to see you back with us. Maybe now you can start living again. And, hey, I know that look. I might not know the full story, but I'm guessing at Dear John over Skype, right? We see a few of those every month, and not everyone handles it as well as you seem to be, at least now. I guess the shock didn't wear off until you talked to the Colonel. He's a great guy and really gets it, especially better than some of the other JAG officers around here. That's probably why he works the late shifts, considering the time difference. Most of these breakdowns happen in the early hours here, which is afternoon back home. Thanks for your concern, Sergeant Rester. I think your reboot analogy was spot on. My body and mind needed a hard reset, and now I feel a lot better. Want to join us for lunch? Normally, I'd love to, but I think Matt's got some important stuff to share with you, and I'm guessing you'd rather keep that private. I know some things since I handle a lot of document transcription and monitor emails, but don't worry, most of it goes in one ear and out the other. Otherwise, I'd be a mess. How about we meet for dinner tonight? 6 o'clock here. I'll even bring my friend Amy. Why bring a friend? Matt chimed in. Well, what else would you do while I'm talking with Joe? Joe, I think you've got yourself a fan, Matt joked. Maybe so, I said with a chuckle. Any guy who can take a hit like the one you've been through and bounce back 2 days later must be interesting to talk to, Sergeant Rester continued. Plus, I'm curious about what 2 Air Force guys are doing here on an Army base, has to be a good story there. See you tonight, fly boys. Sergeant Rester left us standing near the chow hall entrance. I shook my head and asked, was she flirting with me, or am I just reading into things? Joe, my man, she was definitely flirting. I'm more curious about this Amy. I don't think I've met anyone by that name around here, but first, weren't you saying something about being starving? Let's fill that bottomless pit of yours and then rest up for tonight. I ended up eating 2 slices of meatloaf, 3 slices of roast beef, double servings of mashed potatoes with gravy, 4 bowls of veggies, 2 slices of apple pie, and a cup of ice cream. While I was stuffing my face, Matt filled me in on what I'd missed. Greg had called twice, and then the lawyer called too. Matt had the lawyer connect with Colonel Richards. Greg also managed to snap more pictures, one of a captain we used to clean for and another guy who occasionally worked for us. That helped my case for getting Jake, but it also stirred up my anger again. This time, though, I didn't explode or break down like before. Instead, it just confirmed what kind of person I had married. Tom and I left the chow hall and decided to hit the gym for a bit. Afterward, we headed back to the tent, and I took a nap. I wanted to be well rested and alert for dinner. I figured we'd grab a late breakfast before meeting the Colonel at midnight. After a shower and getting dressed again, Tom and I made our way back to the chow hall. We'd only been waiting at the entrance for a few minutes when Sergeant Rester and a young Marine Corporal joined us. We went in, got our meals, and sat at a quiet table, ironically, the same spot Tom and I had sat earlier for lunch. We reintroduced ourselves to Lila and met Marine Corporal Amy Stevens. It was funny how quickly Tom hit it off with Amy. Turns out, they were both from upstate New York, Tom from Rochester and Amy from Geneva, near the Finger Lakes. They had grown up only about 50 miles apart. Meanwhile, Lila and I spent our time talking about ourselves, our childhoods, what we wanted out of life, just everything. Lila was from a small town outside Lexington, Kentucky, while I was born at Beale AFB in California but raised just outside Austin, Texas. My dad had bought 10 acres near Round Rock and built a house along with a few outbuildings for his various hobbies. I didn't mention anything about my current situation, but I did talk about Kelly, Jake, and our life before I was deployed. Before I knew it, I glanced at my watch. It was already 9:15. We'd been talking for over 3 hours. We said our goodbyes and made plans to meet again, maybe for another meal, a movie, or a workout. Afterward, Tom and I headed to the communications tent to see if I could get in my usual Skype call to Kelly. It was mid-morning back home, around 10:30 a.m., so I figured she'd be at home working on payroll for Friday. There was an open computer, so I logged in, got online, and called her. Kelly answered quickly, jumping on the screen. She was dressed in a nice blouse, her hair mostly done, though a small section stuck up in the back. I wondered about that. We had our usual loving chat, and I had Tom say hi as well. The whole time, we kept a close eye on the background to see if anyone else was there. Near the end of the call, Tom noticed a faint shadow on the wall behind Kelly, definitely a man's shadow. The light in front of Kelly wasn't very bright, so the image wasn't clear, but it was there. I felt my face drop into a frown, and Kelly noticed immediately. "Joe, what's wrong, honey? You've got a strange look on your face. Is everything okay over there?" "Yeah, babe, I thought I saw something behind you, but it was probably just a reflection from a car passing by or something. I'm good here. Just making sure you're not missing me too much." "Oh, Joe, you have no idea how much I miss you, sweetheart. I miss your strong arms around me, your kisses, especially having your body next to mine all night long. But if I keep talking like this, I'm going to start crying about how much I miss you. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon." The video cut out. But since I was the one who made the call, the audio kept going for a moment longer, and I clearly heard Kelly laughing with another man before the line finally disconnected. Tom and I nearly laughed out loud ourselves because, as Kelly had been talking about what she missed, the shadow in the background was mimicking her movements. Now, without a doubt, I knew exactly who Kelly really was. Right then and there, I decided she would never see Jake again. Without hesitation, I called my parents. "Mom, I need you and Dad to head down to Florida and pick up Jake. Just tell Kelly that you really need to spend time with him. She's cheating on me, and once she's served, she'll try to take him from me. I can't let her near him." My mom gasped, her hand covering her mouth. She's doing what? What happened? Of course, we'll do it, but why all of a sudden? Mom, I just found out on Tuesday that Kelly's been cheating on me. You remember Greg Johnson, right? He and his wife Marie lived around the corner from us when you and Dad visited Florida. Well, he walked in on her with some guy in our kitchen and called me right after. He even took a picture. I've already started the divorce process. Right now, Jake is with Jim and Linda for the week, but I think Kelly's planning to get him this weekend, so you two need to get down there fast. I don't want Jake around her. I'd like to believe she wouldn't bring anyone into the house while he's there, but I can't be sure anymore. Joe, honey, I'll talk to your father, and we'll get down there as soon as we can. I'll try to call Linda and see if we can stay with them for a bit. That way, we'll be close if you need anything. Are you coming back soon to deal with this, or will you have to handle everything from over there? I'm not entirely sure yet, Mom. I'll know more after tonight. I've got a meeting with my lawyer here, and he's been really helpful. He went through something similar years ago, so he understands what I'm dealing with. Having Matt around has been a lifesaver too, he's been my rock. He says hi, by the way. Is Matt there with you? Bring him on the screen, I need to say something to him. Matt pulled a chair up next to me and said, "Hey there again, Mom. I hope it's okay I call you that since I don't get to talk to my own mom much. She doesn't have a computer with a camera, so I only see her when she's at the library. Matt, you can call me Mom anytime. You've been such a great support for Joe, helping him through this mess. That says a lot about your character. Give me your mom's address, and we'll send her a camera for her computer so you can video chat with her like Joe does with us." "Mom, you don't have to do that. I've been trying to get her to upgrade her laptop, but I think she's avoiding it because she doesn't want me to see her new boyfriend. Since Dad passed 2 years ago, she hasn't mentioned much, but a couple of times a man answered her phone and quickly hung up, claiming I had the wrong number. But I know it wasn't the wrong number. When I called back, either Mom picked up, or it went to voicemail. I think she's embarrassed and worried I won't approve. I probably need to write her a letter and tell her it's okay if she's found someone." "Oh, Matt, you should definitely do that. I'm sure it would make her feel better about coming clean about this mystery man. Sometimes we forget that our little boys have grown into men. Now, you two go on. I've got to get your dad up to speed, and we'll head down to Florida. We love you both. Joe, we're going to get through this, just like we've handled every other challenge. Got it?" "Yes, Mom," I said with a hint of sarcasm. "I love you too. Be safe on your trip. Are you planning to fly or drive? We'll talk to Jim and Linda first, then decide on the best way to get down there. Mom, please don't say anything to Jim and Linda about the divorce or Kelly's affair. I don't want them confronting her until we've got everything in place. I want her to be as shocked as I was when I found out. So, keep it quiet, okay? All right, son, but we might feel them out to see how they'd react to infidelity. They understand long absences too. We'll keep you posted on what we find, and you do the same. Love you. Bye. Love you too, Mom. Bye." As I hung up, Tom looked at me. "Man, your mom's handling all this so calmly, but I bet she's fuming inside. I could see it in her eyes when you told her about the cheating. So, when do you normally call your in-laws? Now might be a good time. No one's waiting on the line, and I'm sure you'd love to see Jake." "Thanks, Tom. Just give me a minute to pull myself together. That last part got to me. While you're at it, can you grab us a couple of beers? I think I need one right now." "Yeah, no problem, buddy. I'll be back in a sec." I took a deep breath and dialed the Wilsons. After a few rings, Misty picked up. "Hey, Joe. How are you doing? Do you want me to get on Skype so you can talk to Jake?" "That'd be great. I haven't had a chance to talk to him all week." I just found out he's staying with you guys. We hung up, and a few minutes later, she was online. I called on Skype, and soon enough, her face popped up on the screen. Misty, you look fantastic. I hope Jake hasn't been too much trouble for you two this week. Oh, Joe, you know Jake's never any trouble. He's such a sweet kid. Sometimes I wish you had a dozen more just like him. Jake came into the room and raised his arms, wanting to sit on Misty's lap. Hi, Daddy. I miss you. When are you coming home? Monty misses you too. Hey, buddy. I miss you too. I'm not sure when I'll be home, but I think maybe in a little while, possibly next month. We're supposed to get a break about halfway through the tour, but we'll see. It depends on where we are and what's happening. Yay, Daddy. I miss you a whole lot. Are you being good for Grandma and Grandpa? I've been good, haven't I, Grandma? Yes, Jake, you've been a very good boy for Grandma and Grandpa. Joe, is everything okay over there? You look a little off, Misty asked, her voice tinged with concern. Yeah, everything's fine here. I might be busy for a while, though, so it could be a bit before I can call again. Jake, make sure you're good for your grandparents, and take care of your mommy for me, okay? Okay, Daddy. I'll take care of Mommy. Can I go play now? Yeah, buddy, go ahead. I love you. I felt tears starting to creep down my cheeks as I said those words. Misty noticed, and as she let Jake hop down from her lap, he called out, I love you too, Daddy. Come home soon. Then he dashed out of the room. I closed my eyes for a moment and whispered a silent prayer, please, Lord, watch over my son and keep him safe. Joe, something's wrong, isn't it? I can see it in your eyes. Are you hurt or headed on some dangerous mission? Misty, it's nothing I can talk about right now, but there are some changes coming. Oh, by the way, I spoke with my mom before I called you. She and Dad are thinking of coming down to see you all soon. Apparently, they've been planning it for a while, but I just heard about it tonight. Surprise. They're even talking about taking Jake to Disney World. You all could go too, wouldn't that be fun? Joe, I know you almost as well as I know my daughter. What's really going on? Believe me, Misty, I can't say anything just yet. Maybe next week or the week after, I'll be able to explain everything, but for now, it has to stay under wraps. Please. I'll tell you what, Joe, Misty said firmly, I might do a little digging myself and see if I can't find out what's going on. Misty, please, I pleaded. This has to stay a secret, especially from Kelly, no, especially from Kelly. I wish you didn't even know as much as you do. Please, for my sake, let it be for now. I'm begging you. Okay, but I'll be expecting answers soon. You got that? Yes, ma'am, I promise you'll know everything pretty soon. I love you all so much, so please hang in there, okay? Joe, I'm going to need some straight answers soon. We love you a lot too, and the sooner you can tell us, the better. Otherwise, I'll worry myself sick. I promise, as soon as I can explain everything, I will. I love you guys more than you know. We'll talk soon. I've got to go now. Bye. I ended the Skype call and sat there crying again. I wanted to trust them so badly, but I couldn't, not yet. Not until I was face to face with them, or at least until Kelly had been served. Whichever came first. Tom came back with a beer for each of us, and we made our way back to the tent for what could only be described as a pity party. We sat there, sipping our beers in silence for a while, just reflecting on our lives and the people in them. I told Tom about my conversation with Misty, and he figured she might be headed down the wrong path with her assumptions, but it was hard to say. Maybe she thought I was coming home early or there was some special mission coming up. Whatever it was, we still didn't know what she thought she knew. After a bit, our stomachs started grumbling, so we decided it was time to grab something to eat. We headed over to the Chow Hall, or whatever the army calls it. Lila and Amy met us there, and we all sat down for breakfast, chatting for a while. Before long, it was time for them to go, as they were scheduled for the midnight to 8 a.m. shift. Tom and I left shortly after and headed for headquarters to meet with Colonel Richards. When we arrived at the JAG office, I greeted Sergeant Rester. "Hello again, Sergeant. We've got a 0300 appointment with Colonel Richards. He's expecting us. I'll let him know you're here." "Just a moment." She disappeared through a door and came back a few minutes later. "Follow me, please. The Colonel is ready for you now." Tom and I followed her into Colonel Richards' office, where we took seats in front of his desk. He was on the phone, but it sounded like he was about to wrap up. We sat quietly, waiting for him to finish. After a minute, he hung up and turned his attention to us. "Sergeants Anderson and Davidson, good to see you boys again. I've got some good news, some even better news, and then some great news for both of you. Let's start with the good news. Your lawyer in Florida has agreed to take your case for the divorce pro bono. His name is Walter Gronblad. He handles the civil side, and Ernest Stain takes care of the criminal cases, so you're covered there. From what Mr. Johnson has gathered, there's no doubt about the infidelity, so adultery won't be in question. Given the evidence, there shouldn't be much of a contest, especially since you're serving overseas." He paused for a moment before continuing, "Now, for the even better news, your company won't be a major issue in the divorce, except that she may have a claim to a portion of it. But don't worry, it's not as bad as it sounds. Since her actions are the cause of the divorce, that will weigh heavily with the judge. And because her name isn't listed as an officer of the company, her claim is weak. Florida isn't a community property state, but it does have clauses about marital and non-marital property. Since you started the business during your marriage, she may be entitled to some compensation, depending on the judge's ruling. Gronblad thinks the judge will probably award her a monetary amount for her work in the company. Is she paid as an employee, or do you both share the profits?" "Colonel Richards, we both take a salary from the company. All the profits go into a trust fund for our son's college education. We keep a portion for maintenance and supplies, but the rest is for Jake's future." "Well, son, you might just be the smartest husband I've come across, or you've got some excellent advice. With the way you've set up the company, she won't be able to touch a dime of the assets. Everything belongs to your son and the executor of the trust." "Who's the executor? Is it you or your wife? Please tell me it's someone else." "It's actually his godfather, Greg Johnson. In our wills, if something happened to both of us, Greg would take over the company, custody of Jake, and serve as the executor of our estate and the trust. Honestly, I'm not even sure Kelly remembers we set up the trust that way. We can deposit money into it, but we can't take any out until Jake turns 18. That's incredible, Joe. Who helped you set it up like that?" "My dad did. He said it was the best way to make sure Jake would have the money for college when he needed it." "Your dad was spot on. This trust is rock solid. Only the executor or the parent can access the funds, and only for your son's education. Actually, it's for all of our kids. I think my dad had it worded so that it covers any child born from the marriage of Joe and Kelly Anderson." "Wow, that means if Kelly had another kid with someone else, they wouldn't be included under that trust," Tom chimed in. "Exactly, so long as we can prove the child isn't mine with a DNA or blood test." Suddenly, a terrible thought hit me. Oh my God, what if Jake isn't mine? I can't even bear to think about it. I broke down, and before I knew it, the colonel was on the phone, looking for a specific number. "Walter, it's Charles Richards again. Is there any chance we could arrange a DNA test for Jake? Saliva should work. See if the hospital did any routine workups when he was born. A lot of them do that now. Oh, and do you have a copy of the trust for his college fund? Great. Look it over thoroughly, I'm pretty sure we've got an ironclad agreement there. And Joe tells me both he and his wife are paid salaries from the cleaning business, with all profits going straight into the trust. Yeah, smart move. Aha. All right, keep me posted as soon as you find something. Thanks. Bye. He hung up and turned to me. Joe, I've got to say, I'm more impressed with each new thing I learn about this situation. Now, for the great news, you and Tom are headed out on a mission tomorrow night. It should only last 3 or 4 days, and after that, you'll be homeward bound for 15 days of leave. You'll have a chance to cool off before you deal with things back home. And I can arrange for Tom to take leave with you, if you think you'll need him. I can tell you two have a strong bond, and it's not something that's easy to break. Colonel, as much as I'd love to have Tom come with me, I don't think it's fair to him. Greg will be there for me, and honestly, he's like a brother to me, we've known each other since basic training. But Tom and we're more like twins. Anyone who spends time with us can see that. So, what's the decision? Is Tom going with you or staying behind? Sir, if I may speak for myself, Tom interjected, I'd love to go with Joe, but I met someone yesterday, and we really hit it off. I'm not sure where things are going yet, and I'd hate to miss out on the chance to see where it leads by leaving for a while. I don't have anyone waiting for me back home at McGuire or Patrick, so if it's all the same to you, I'd like to stay. I hope you understand, Joe. Tom, I'd never forgive myself if I messed up your chance with Amy. She seems perfect for you. Growing up just 50 miles apart, you two have so much in common right from the start. I can't be that selfish. Stay here, and hopefully, you'll have something good to tell me when I get back. Oh, and before I forget, I need both of you to sign this document. Joe, sign where your name and today's date are, and Tom, sign as the witness. I'll fax it back to Walter, and we'll get the ball rolling on serving Kelly. Can we hold off on serving her until I'm back home? I'd like to surprise her with it, say, 15 minutes after I walk through the door. Tom grinned, that's cold, Joe. I just want to see the look on her face when she reads the papers. It'll be my little payback for the shock I got from Greg's phone call. The colonel chuckled. Tom's right, that's ice cold, but I approve. If you can snap a picture of her expression, I'd love to see it. It might give me a bit of satisfaction by proxy. No problem, Colonel. I'll make sure to capture that moment just for you. And if her reaction is as good as I'm expecting, I might blow it up to 11 by 17 and frame it in the living room. The colonel shook his head. I'm not sure that would be appropriate. What would your son think? You're right, Colonel. It wouldn't be the best idea. But it would sure remind me that not every woman can be trusted. True enough. Well, I've got some more work to finish, so why don't you two head back to your tent and catch some sleep? You may not get much for the next few days. I don't have all the details of your mission, but Major Kelly assured me that you two are the only ones for the job. Good luck out there, and come back safe so we can get you on that plane home. Thank you for everything, Colonel. I'm not sure I deserve all this help, but I really appreciate it. I know my son would thank you if he could. And I thank you as well, Colonel, Tom added. Joe's my best friend, and like he said, we're like twins. Whatever hurts one of us hurts the other. The colonel smiled. You two have a rare bond. I wonder what will happen when your tours are over and you're separated by different assignments. We've already talked about that, Tom said. Out in the field, we've made plans. We'll be best friends for life. No matter where we are, we'll always stay in touch. And who knows? After we retire, we might even settle down in the same area, or maybe not. My dad has friends all over the world. They stay in touch through emails and messages, reminiscing about old times and catching up on their lives now. He says it keeps him from ever feeling lonely. Your dad sounds like a wise man. I might take that advice and try reconnecting with some of my old friends. I've lost touch with a few, but I'm still in the service, and maybe some of them are too. Thanks, Joe. That's a great idea. Now, go get some rest. I'll handle things on this end, and Walter will keep things moving back home. You just focus on coming back from your mission in one piece. Thanks for everything, Colonel. I'll see you soon. And thanks from me too, Colonel. My brother here needed help, and I'm really glad you were there for him. We do what we can, Tom. That's what we're here for, to help when people need it. As we left the Colonel's office, I paused in the reception area and turned to Lila. Sergeant Rester, we're going to be out for a few days, work stuff, but when we get back, I know Tom would like to see Amy again. And as for me, well, after I take care of my situation back home, I'd love to catch up with you too. I'm not making any commitments, but I'd like to get to know you better. Sergeant Anderson, I'd like that. I'm not attached to anyone right now, and I think it's about time I considered a flyboy for a change. Tom chimed in, so, no more ground pounders or jarheads, huh? I wouldn't say that just yet. But I do know one jarhead who might be into a certain flyboy she met not long ago. Now, you two get out of here, I know you've got work to do. Thanks, Sergeant. I hope to see you soon, I said as we headed out. Joe, I think we might have stumbled into something here, something we need to think about long and hard. Then either run like hell or stop running. I'm just not sure which yet. I think you're right, brother. But first, let's get some sleep. 5 days later, we were flown back in by helicopter after our mission. 8 confirmed kills and 4 possibles. We had hit a cave up in the mountains near Dar. The insurgents had been using a camo tarp to hide the entrance. They'd drive their trucks down the valley at night, hide them in the cave at daybreak, then wait until nightfall again to continue down the valley and resupply their forces. We counted 5 trucks, loaded with cargo, and about 12 men with the convoy. Using infrared, we tracked them down the valley, but they vanished. I marked the area, and the next day, in daylight, we scoped it out. That's when I spotted what looked like a rock moving, or flapping in the wind. Turns out, it was the camo tarp. Once we figured that out, it was just a matter of waiting for them to emerge at night and picking them off. When the Marines moved in afterward, they confirmed 12 dead and found a huge stash of weapons, food, and even bunks in the cave. It had been a major stopover on a supply route to the A1 highway. The Marines blew the place up, leaving only the paperwork scattered around. When we got back, we were so calm, it felt like we were floating. I set up a meeting with Colonel Richards, and he handed me my flight orders along with some additional details. Once you're back in the States, contact Major Kenneth Riley at this number. He'll arrange your flight down to Patrick. You'll fly into Atlanta, then over to Fort Stewart for a courier flight to Patrick. After you arrive, get in touch with Walter Gronblad at this number. He'll coordinate with the process server, who will drive you home and then knock 15 minutes after you walk in. Now, the big question is, do you want to call your wife when you land in Atlanta, or wait and surprise her? I think I'd rather surprise her with the papers when we're alone. And what about Jake? Where will he be? It looks like your parents have already made it to Florida and are staying with your in-laws. They've got Jake with them for the week, and they'll have him until Wednesday. You're set to land Monday afternoon, and if everything goes smoothly, you should be home by around 1,400 hours. So, calling her is totally up to you. Thanks for everything, Colonel. I'll be sure to get that picture of her reaction. My phone takes great photos. You've got some packing to do and a ride to catch if you want to make that surprise happen. Best of luck. Thank you. Hopefully, I'll be back soon. I'm planning to grant temporary custody of Jake to my in-laws since they're already with him. Walter has all the paperwork ready for my signature. Good to hear. I'm just doing my job, here to serve those who serve. I left the office and headed back to my tent, where I found Tom waiting, my bag already laid out. He'd packed my underwear, socks, and extra uniforms, leaving just my toiletries and another pair of boots for me to add. All my Class A uniforms were back home, so I only had my battle dress uniforms and a few personal items here. I gave Tom a hug, told him goodbye, and stepped outside to find my ride. A Hummer was idling out front, with an Army PFC holding the door open for me. I tossed my duffel bag into the back, climbed in, and we drove toward the flight line. From that point on, the journey became a blur. I arrived in Atlanta at 6 a.m., where I was met by an Army helicopter crew ready to fly me to Fort Stewart. After landing, I had about an hour before my C-130 was scheduled to take off for Patrick AFB in Florida. I decided to give Kelly a call. Hello. Hey, Kelly. I'm stateside now, well, in Georgia, actually, and I managed to arrange a flight home. I'll be there this afternoon. I'll call you when I get to Patrick. I've already got someone lined up to drive me home. Pretty great, huh? Joe, you're coming home today? How, why? I mean, wow. You said this afternoon. Do you know when exactly? I want to make sure I'm ready for you. Your parents are here, staying with my folks. They've got Jake with them. Wait a minute, you planned this to surprise me, didn't you? No, sweetheart, the only surprise was me coming home. Everything else is just icing on the cake. I'll be home soon, and I can't wait to see you and hold you again. I've gotta go now, but I'll see you soon. Love you. Bye-bye. I hung up, barely managing to keep the anger out of my voice. It wasn't easy, but I controlled my breathing, just like I did when lining up a target in my crosshairs. That calmed me enough to stay composed. I called Walter next to arrange for a courier to pick me up. Now it was just a matter of making the trip to Patrick and meeting the courier who'd take me home. When we landed at Patrick, the plane taxied up to the operations building. I dragged my half-filled duffel bag down the ramp, feeling the exhaustion setting in. Waiting near a civilian van with "Melbourne Courier Service" printed on the side was a young man, about 25, standing 6 feet tall and built similarly to me. His head of bushy black hair was hard to miss. Dressed in jeans and a polo shirt with a gun on his hip, he looked more like an off-duty cop than a courier or process server. But the van's logo said they were bonded, so maybe the gun wasn't out of place. I figured he was there for me. I approached him and said, "I'm Technical Sergeant Anderson. Are you here for me?" "Yes, Sergeant. I'm your ride home, and I've got a special delivery for your wife. That delivery will be made exactly 15 minutes after you walk through the door. You're a bit early, I wasn't expecting you for another half hour, but I got the call when your plane was about an hour out and was told to be ready for your early arrival. Shall we go?" "Yeah, let's get this done. I told Kelly I'd be home around 1400 anyway. Let's go. I'm exhausted and just want to get this over with." "Sure thing. Hop in." I climbed into the passenger seat and buckled up. About 15 minutes later, we pulled up in front of my house, and as I was getting my duffel bag out of the van, Kelly came running out, screaming my name like she was overjoyed. How could she act like this, knowing what she'd been up to behind my back? I dropped the bag, letting her throw herself into my arms. I kissed her, held her tight, but the tears in my eyes weren't from happiness, they were from sorrow. I picked up my bag, and we walked into the house, arm in arm. "Babe, I'm dying of thirst. Military flights don't exactly come with drink service, and I can't even remember the last time I ate. Can we hold off on rushing to bed until I get some food in me? I need to fend off starvation before I'm in your arms." "Of course, baby. I'll warm up some leftover casserole and grab you a soda. God, I'm so glad you're home." I collapsed into my recliner in the living room. The thought of sitting at the kitchen table made me sick. That table, I'd be getting rid of that, just like the bed. Kelly kept chatting away a mile a minute from the kitchen while she got me something to eat and drink. She brought me the soda first and sat on my lap, kissing me like she hadn't done anything wrong. The microwave beeped, and she jumped up to grab the casserole, returning with a steaming plate. I had just set the plate on my lap when the doorbell rang. Time for me to get into action. That's probably for me. I'm expecting some paperwork about when I need to go back. Let me grab the door. Kelly didn't think twice about it, having no idea the courier had parked out of her view. When I opened the door, there stood the process server with a large manila envelope. Kelly didn't seem concerned. "Is there a Mrs. Kelly Anderson here?" the man asked. "Honey, this guy's here for you, not me. You expecting something?" "No, Joe, I'm not. I'm Kelly Anderson. Do you have something for me?" I pulled out my phone, ready to capture the moment. "Yes, ma'am," he said, handing her the envelope. "You've been served." He turned and quickly headed back to his van. "What's this, honey? Why am I getting served with papers?" "I don't know, Kelly. Why don't you open it up and find out?" She tore open the envelope, pulled out the papers, and started reading. As her eyes scanned the top of the page, she looked up at me in shock. I snapped the picture I'd been waiting for. Then, just like that, she fainted. I picked her up and laid her on the couch, then went back to my lunch. After a few minutes, she came to and shot me one of the dirtiest looks I'd ever seen. I made sure to capture that picture too. "What did you expect, Kelly? Did you think I'd just sit back and let you betray me without doing anything? I'm honestly disappointed in you. Did you really think you could carry on like this behind my back and I wouldn't find out? Joe, baby, it's not what you think. It only happened once. I never wanted to hurt you, I swear. I was just so lonely. I love you so much, and I'm so sorry you had to find out like this." I cut her off. "It wasn't just once, Kelly, it was multiple times, with multiple people. At least that's what I know about. I mean, I could almost understand Dick Harrison and his charm, but Jamie Goodman? That guy couldn't land a date to save his life. And then there's the captain you've been seeing for over a year. No, Kelly. I'm just glad I found out now. I'm leaving. Wait, no, you are leaving. Go pack your bags and get out of my sight. I don't want to see you here again. I'm going to see my son. Oh, and while we're at it, is Jake even mine? Do you even know?" Kelly curled up into a ball on the couch, sobbing uncontrollably. I grabbed my truck keys, hoisted my duffel bag, and walked out. I made it as far as the corner of the street before I broke down, my head resting on the steering wheel as the tears flowed. 10 minutes passed, and then I saw Dick Harrison's car turn down the street, heading straight for my house. That was enough to send me back. I turned the truck around and pulled back into the driveway. Walking in, I found Dick trying to comfort Kelly. "Dick Harrison, get out of here right now before I throw you out myself. Haven't you done enough damage to this marriage without sticking around? Hey, that's uncalled for. I'm just trying to help her out." "Help her? She doesn't deserve your help. Did she tell you that you were the only one?" "Oh, wait, she did, didn't she? You really think you're the only guy, don't you?" Dick looked at Kelly, his expression falling, and silently walked out. "Joe, that was so unnecessary. Why are you acting like this? We can work things out, right? Kelly, our marriage ended the moment you were unfaithful. It's just official now with those papers. How far back does this go?" "I know about Captain Gregory, that was over a year ago. Does it go even further than that? Be honest." "Yes. Philip was the first. When you didn't find out, I figured I could get away with more. Since I handle the scheduling for the cleanings, I could also schedule time for myself. Was I not enough for you? Was our marriage so boring that you had to find someone else?" No, Joe. It wasn't you. You were the best partner and the best father. I don't even know how it started. Well, actually, I do. Philip told me I was the most beautiful woman he'd ever met, and I fell for it. That first time was a huge mistake. I felt horrible. I didn't do anything for months after that because I was so ashamed. I thought you'd find out. But when Philip called me again for another cleaning, I should have sent someone else, but I thought I could handle it. I was wrong. He was charming, persistent. After that, it just became easier. You didn't seem to notice, so I never stopped. I should have told you right away, but I couldn't. And then it became like a sickness, I needed more. I'm so sorry, Joe. I'll leave now. I'll pack up and go to my mom's. Wait, your folks are there. Maybe I'll stay with Susie Henderson. I'll be gone. I'll take Jake, and we'll leave you to your new life. You will not take Jake. Do you hear me? I'm not letting you anywhere near him. You're not fit to be his mother. You're a liar, Kelly, and you don't deserve a child or a husband. The papers are signed, and now we can all move on with our lives. My parents are taking Jake to Disney World, and while they're gone, you can explain to your parents why we're no longer together. You'll also need to tell them that they'll have temporary custody of Jake while I'm overseas. But you will have to tell them how badly you messed this up. I can't forgive you, Kelly. It's just not in me. Yes, Joe. She pulled the papers out of the envelope, her face paling as she read them, gasping at certain parts, probably the evidence laid out against her. She signed the last page and placed them back in the envelope, then quietly walked to the bedroom. I sat there, staring at the soda in my hand, my untouched tuna casserole growing cold on the table. Kelly found me hunched over in the chair, my head in my hands, tears silently flowing again. I thought I was done crying, but clearly, I wasn't. I heard her moving in and out of the house, loading her things into the car. She came back one last time and knelt on the floor in front of my chair. Joe, I'm so sorry for the pain I've caused you. I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive myself for what I've done to our family. It was just physical, it was never about love. You gave me all the love I could have ever wanted and more, but something in me craved the attention. I think it was the thrill of doing something forbidden that drove me. I guess you were right, I'm a mess. But I'm sorry. Please tell Jake that I'm sorry. Maybe you could even tell him that I died, so he can move on from me in time. I don't know what I'll do now. I won't contest the divorce, and what you're offering is more than generous, considering what I've done to you. If you find anything of mine, just call Susie or toss it out. I won't darken your door again. Joe, I still care about you, but I understand. Goodbye. She hugged me, kissed the top of my head, and then she was gone. I sat there for the rest of the day, not moving, not doing anything. I was completely numb, drained of every emotion. When I finally stood up, I went to the bathroom, relieved myself, and returned to the living room to start making the calls I had to make. First, I called the courier service to pick up the signed papers. Then I called the Wilsons' house and explained to Misty what had happened. She was upset that I hadn't trusted her enough to tell her the truth the other night, but I think she understood in the end. She hadn't heard from Kelly yet but was expecting a call or a visit sometime today. I also spoke to my parents and asked if they could take Jake to Disney World for a few days. They said they'd love to, and mentioned that Sam and Misty would join them later in the week. That would give Kelly time to explain things to her parents, though how she'd managed to explain betraying me for over a year without sounding like a total wreck, I had no idea. I called Walter to let him know the papers were on their way and asked him to get the custody documents ready for the Wilsons to sign. With me essentially being a single parent and stationed overseas, it was the best option for now. I also realized I probably wouldn't need to rent a house on base anymore. I'd have my cleaning crew clear it out and put everything into storage. Base housing wouldn't let the place sit empty for long. I hoped the next family would have better luck in that house than I did. Next, I downloaded everything from Kelly's laptop. I found a couple of incriminating pictures attached to some emails and saved them onto a flash drive to hand over to Walter when the courier came by. The rest was all business related. After that, I called Susie and let her know she could pick up Kelly's laptop anytime. Everything business related had been saved. I asked her if she had any idea what Kelly had been up to. She swore she didn't but said she'd let Kelly stay at her place for a few days until she figured out her next steps. Then I called Marie Sterling to ask if she knew anyone who could help keep the business running while I was away. She told me that she and Michelle Rossi could handle it. I told her I'd already loaded everything they needed onto my desktop, so they could use that until I returned. Marie expressed how sorry she was about everything that had happened. "Joe, I didn't know anything until Dawn told me last week. I always thought you and Kelly were perfect together. I guess sometimes you just can't see what's really going on. If you need anything, Dawn and I are here for you." "Thanks, Marie. I'm just exhausted. Everything hit me at once." Kelly didn't even try to deny it. At first, she only admitted to the first time Dawn caught her. Then that guy, Dick, came by to comfort her, but as soon as he found out he wasn't the only one, he left in a hurry. "Joe, I'm so sorry for everything I've done to you. I don't think I'll ever forgive myself for what I've done to our family. It was purely physical, it wasn't love. You gave me all the love I could ever ask for, more than I deserved. But something inside me craved attention, and I think it was the forbidden nature of it that drew me in. I know I'm a mess, like you said, and I can't make up for it. Please, tell Jake that I'm sorry. Maybe one day you could tell him I died, and he can forget about me over time. I don't know what I'm going to do now. I'm not going to fight this, and what you're offering me is more than fair after everything I've done to you. If you find anything else of mine around the house, just call Susie or toss it out. I won't be coming back. Joe, I still care about you, but I understand. Goodbye." She hugged me, kissed my head, and left. I stayed there for the rest of the day, motionless. Numb. I had no more tears left to shed. When the next day rolled around, I finally dragged myself to the bathroom, then returned to the living room and started making the necessary phone calls. First, I called the courier service to pick up the divorce papers. Then, I called the Wilsons and explained everything to Misty. She was upset that I hadn't trusted her enough to tell her the truth sooner, but I think she understood. She hadn't heard from Kelly yet but was expecting a call or visit that day. After that, I called my parents and asked them to take Jake to Disney World for a few days. They were thrilled at the idea, and Sam and Misty were planning to join them after a couple of days. It would give Kelly time to talk to her parents and explain her side of things. Her side. How could she possibly explain over a year of betrayal without sounding like a total mess? Next, I called Walter and told him the papers would be coming his way shortly. I asked him to prepare the custody documents for the Wilsons to sign, as I was now, for all intents and purposes, a single parent temporarily stationed overseas. I didn't think I needed to rent the house on base anymore. I'd have my cleaning service pack up everything and put it in storage. Base housing probably wouldn't let the house sit empty, even if I requested it. They'd most likely give it to another family that needed it, which was fine. I hoped the next family had better luck with the place than I did. I then downloaded everything from Kelly's laptop, finding a couple of interesting pictures attached to emails. I saved them onto a flash drive to hand over to Walter when the courier arrived. Everything else was business related. I called Susie and told her she could pick up Kelly's laptop anytime. I had already removed all the business files. I asked if she knew about Kelly's affairs. She swore she had no idea, but agreed to let Kelly stay with her for a few days until she figured things out. Finally, I called Marie Sterling and asked if she knew anyone who could keep the business running in my absence. She said she and Michelle Rossi could handle it. I told her I'd already set everything up on my desktop, so she could take it from there. Marie sounded genuinely sorry. Joe, I had no idea until Greg told me last week. I always thought you and Kelly were the perfect couple. I guess sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. If you need anything at all, Dawn or I will be here to help. Thanks, Marie. It's just been a lot to process all at once. Kelly didn't even try to deny it, though at first, she only admitted to the one time that Greg caught her. Then that guy came over to comfort her, thinking he was the only one. He left in a hurry once he found out he wasn't. What about Jake? Do you have someone to take care of him? Yeah, Marie. His grandparents are going to have temporary custody until I get back, which will be in about a year. After that, I'm not sure, but Kelly won't be part of his life. I made it clear she's not to be around him. I'll probably tell Jake that she had to go away for a while, and maybe when he's older, I'll explain the truth. I don't even want to think about that right now. Why don't you come over for dinner tonight? Bring your desktop and all the business paperwork. Michelle and I can start getting familiar with everything so we can take over from there. You don't want to stay in that house too long, too many memories, too many ghosts. Come stay with us for the night, okay? I'll come by for dinner, but maybe you and Michelle should go through the kitchen and take whatever you want. I'll toss the rest. You're right, this place holds too many memories, good and bad. I'll try to get into the Bachelor Airman's quarters until I can store everything before I head back. Thanks, Marie. You and Dawn have been lifesavers through all of this. Joe, what are friends for if not to help each other when it's needed? You'd do the same for us if the situation were reversed. So don't say another word, just accept our help and love and keep moving forward, okay? Yeah, I can manage that. I've got some other calls to make. Do you need me to bring anything for tonight? If you've got some beer, that'd be great. We're running low, Dawn's been hitting it hard this past week. You know, walking in on Kelly really messed him up. I made him call you the next day. He didn't want to, but I pushed him to do it. You needed to know what was going on. I hope you understand. Yeah, I get it. I'll explain more when I come over tonight. I had my partner, Tom, with me through all of this, and he's been a huge help. He's like a brother to me, couldn't have made it without him. See you tonight, Marie. The courier's here for the papers. I promise I'll be there. Yes, Mom, I promise, I added with a grin. Marie always had a way of making me smile when she slipped into her mother hen routine. Well, there isn't much more to say about this chapter of my life. I survived the heartbreak and betrayal. Jake lived with his grandparents for the next year while I finished my deployment. When I returned, I had a new girlfriend, Lila. She eventually decided that flyboys weren't so bad after all. Her enlistment is up in a few months, and then she's headed back here to be with me and Jake. Oh, and Jake absolutely adores her. He took to her right away. Sometimes when he's cranky or tired, he'll say, "I miss Mommy, but she was bad and had to go away." He's 4 now and sharp as a tack. Misty got him into a pre-K program, and he's already reading and writing, both in print and cursive. He can even count to 100. Misty jokes that he'll be smarter than his dad soon, and honestly, I wouldn't doubt it. His dad was pretty clueless for a while there. I've been incredibly fortunate to have people like Sam, Misty, my parents, Dawn and Marie, Tom, Colonel Lane, and especially Lila stand by me. Each one of them, in their own way, helped me get through what happened with Kelly. Thanks to them, I'm whole again, and life feels normal. I can't forget Walter either, he made the legal process smooth, from handling the paperwork to the court hearing. I owe a lot to all of them. Kelly showed up to the hearing with a lawyer by her side. She's found a job and is living in Orlando now, close to her parents, though things have been rough for her. Her mom really let her have it when she turned up at their house 3 days after I came home. I don't think things are all that friendly between them, but it's slowly improving. Kelly is also going to therapy as part of the divorce agreement. According to her mother, she doesn't even have a boyfriend. Her mom told me Kelly finally realized what she had done and how much it had impacted her life, so she's sworn off relationships for the time being. As for me, I'm gradually getting over the pain, and Lila has been a huge help. We're engaged now and planning a wedding once she's done with her enlistment. Jake helps too, just by being there. Sometimes, he'll crawl into my lap when I'm sitting in the recliner, give me a big hug, and say, "It'll get better, Daddy." I know it will. He's such a smart kid for only being 4. I'm still working with the launch group as an avionics technician, and I'm up for a promotion this fall. There's also talk about us avionics guys getting transferred out west, places like Barksdale, Tinker, or Davis-Monthan. Honestly, it doesn't matter where they send me. My family will be coming with me. Tom went back up to McGuire, and Amy still has about 6 months left in her current rotation. There's even a rumor that she might be coming home earlier than expected, military rumors, you know how that goes. She's planning to get out when her enlistment is up next year. They're engaged too, actually. Tom and I proposed to Lila and Amy on the same night.